Welcome back to Ask the Trade Pros, a show where a couple of trade guys talk about trade stuff and sometimes other random things. We're here to answer your questions about your HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and other home systems so you can keep your home running smoothly. I'm Todd.
And I'm Jordan. Today, Todd and I are joined by a fellow trade pro to discuss something we know very little about, garage door repair and servicing. And we have Dallerie Riesland. Thank you for joining us, Dallerie. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, about your company, A Authentic Garage Door Service?
Sure. Dallerie Riesland. My husband and I own the company. We purchased it in 2017. It was an existing business. We'd been in ranching most of our lives and decided it was time to do something different, and I found a garage door company. So I called my husband and said, "What do you think about garage doors?" And he says, "Well, I think we can learn that." And I says, "Cool, I'm flying to Tucson."
Yeah. So you went from cows to doors. Or sheep. Sheep, right?
Sheep and
Sheep,
cows,
huh?
but mainly sheep, yeah.
What's the difference between sheep shearing and garage door opening?
Oh, there's a lot.
Well, let's get into that, Todd.
On the sheep shearing, I used to do that quite a bit myself for shows for the kids and when we showed ourselves. But the garage doors, I let the guys handle that.
Fair enough.
So, Dallerie, Tucson's extreme heat and dust can wreak havoc on homes. We know that for HVAC and some of the trades that we do. What are some of the most common garage door issues that you see here that folks in other parts of the country may not deal with?
It is the extreme heat. It's very hard on the exterior of the door and on the interior components because most garages are not air conditioned. They're definitely very hot in there. So the garage door springs need lubricated more often. The garage door probably needs painted more often to make it stay looking good. And then we have our lovely rodents that like to get in. So we got to keep the bottom seal on the garage doors. And a lot of people don't think about that until Mr. Rattlesnake's in the garage.
We don't want rattlesnakes, that's for sure.
I mean, some people do. It's a pet.
Not me.
We have problems with seals and rubber and that kind of vinyl on our products. Is there something particularly catered to our market for that, or is it just about constant replacement, or is there any servicing we do? Like, for example, can you dress them or treat them or?
Not that we found. There's some that are called rodent proof that have a
Nothing's proof anything.
yeah, it has a mesh in it, metal mesh, so the pack rats aren't supposed to be able to chew on it, but it doesn't seem to slow them down a whole lot. So it's just, you just got to maintain it and replace it.
How often is that?
Talk to your pack rat.
Depends how you keep your house.
Yeah.
How many pack rats
Do you have an exterminator first? That's
Yeah.
question number one.
I mean, sometimes it'll last for, 4 or 5 years before you have to replace it. And we've had some we've replaced 1 year and we're out there 3 months later and they say, "Well, you just replaced it." And, yeah, but you invited the pack rats around, so.
I had that once on an AC, so I went out there 3 times in a row to fix the wiring because the pack rats like to eat our wiring too.
Yep.
And finally, the third time I come out there and I ring the door and the husband answers. I'm talking to him and I said, "We're out here again." He said, "Yeah, they got into it again." I said, "Okay." I said, "What's this right here?" And he looks down next to the door and there's a plate. He goes, "Oh, my wife likes to feed the cats." Okay. You might
Yep.
want to remove that. And then after that visit, we never had to go back out for that again. So
Some rats can be as big as cats, right?
yeah. So
Give them food and they will come.
yeah. So we talked a little bit about door seals. I want to talk about the aesthetics of garage doors, but not yet. I want to talk about common problems. Like you said, lubricating the springs. I don't do a lot of maintenance on the garage doors. I know Todd's worked on some himself, so he probably has more familiarity. I thought you changed out your garage door. Put in a Wi-Fi one, oiled it.
Oh, the motor. But as for the garage door, I've never done that. And as a matter of fact, I have a story relating to A Authentic because it's been probably 2 or 3 years. My parents were on a cruise and I get a call from the lady that was watching her house while she went to back out of the garage, and the garage door got stuck and it almost fell on top of her car, which was halfway out of the garage. So I called, I don't know if you remember, but I called you. It was probably 6 o'clock at night. And I can say this, within an hour, a technician was at my parents' house, which is on the far east side of Tucson. So a little bit of a drive, and 2 hours later, he replaced the spring and made some adjustments, and up and running it was. So I gotta give it to you for timeliness, response.
You do know how to work on
notch.
a garage door. You call someone.
Exactly. I call someone. I don't know how to And it was amazing because I stood there and watched them to pay the bill and all that. Obviously, my family wasn't there, but yeah, you need special tools and rods to tighten, put the tension on those springs. And yeah, that's beyond my knowledge. I know the other trades, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, garage doors, not so much.
Those springs can be dangerous if you don't know what you're doing, and our guys had to learn. And
I feel like there's a story.
well, when we first bought the business, there were 3 technicians, and I get here and I only have 2 technicians. Well, this one's out because he overwound a spring and it broke and it tore up his hand. So he was on workers' comp. And so my guys have always been really careful because they don't want that to happen. They saw what happened to him and they...
Yeah, it could be dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever seen them do it, but those some big rods and they're going and holding and a lot of tension on those springs.
So this is not a YouTube video kind of thing?
I wouldn't, I personally wouldn't attempt it. I'd rather, I like my hands and my limbs, so I'd rather just pay the bill and have a professional do it who's done it every day.
There are YouTube videos out there if you want, Jordan.
No, we get it all the time when people try with plumbing and electrical, and they're like, "Yeah, we could do this," and we're like, "That's why you have a fire." So we get it. Like your guys train, they do this all the time. Let them do it. They know exactly. Well, most of the time they know exactly how hard to tighten it or whatever the torque is and all that stuff. So tell us a little bit more about this kind of maintenance, though. I know you said yearly maintenance, or
we highly suggest yearly, and if not every 6 months in our environment, that we come out and lube every point that moves. And people say, well, I lube it. And we said, well, did you lube the springs? And they said, well, no. And I said, well, the springs are a moving part, so they need lubricated also. We do the hinges. We do a 21-point safety inspection on it. And then we adjust the springs if necessary, and we adjust the limits and forces on the opener if necessary. But it's kind of like changing the oil in your car. It's going to make it last a lot longer.
Makes sense. If there was one thing that you would tell residents to do, something that they could do on their own to maintain it or help with the longevity, what would that be? Oil? Spray the hinges?
Well, if I was going to tell them to spray, it would be with silicone, not WD-40, with a silicone. But one of the main things would probably be tell them, don't use it like a front door. So many people, that's their front door, in and out, and the springs are rated on revolutions, so when you get to that many revolutions, it's a mechanical part. The stress on it's going to break it. So it prolonged the life if they would use the front door instead of the garage door.
Guilty.
yeah, I was like, I've got literally everybody I know to tell this to. I think that's every single person I know with the garage door.
Yeah,
they never go out their front door. They're just going out the garage.
The springs rated to wind and unwind, the ones we purchase, about 10,000 times. So if you're doing it 10,000 times in a year, then your springs are going to break a lot sooner than if you open it in the morning, close it, come home at night, open and close it.
Interesting. Yeah, that's good information.
Yeah, it's not going to stop what you do, though. I'm pretty sure.
It did make me think of another question, though. So relating to the opener, so we see screw drives, belt drives. My dad just put a jack drive. What's your recommendations for all these different?
What are those?
What are they, and what's your recommendations on them?
We sell the LiftMaster brand, and we only stock the belt drive because they're so much quieter, and LiftMaster puts a good warranty on the belt, so you don't have to worry about the belt breaking. Screw drives, I don't even know if you can buy them anymore. Possibly. There's a lot of chain drives out there, but there you go back to the noise factor, especially if someone has a bedroom above the garage. You can hear that garage open, close. So with the belt drive, it's a lot quieter. The direct drive or jack shaft don't have an overhead rail, so you don't have that center rail, and they can handle a lot heavier door. There's some ones that are rated, there's a 1,000-pound rated one, and I'm not sure what the next one is, but they handle a lot heavier door, and you don't have the overhead rail.
Does that make them lower profile in the garage?
Yeah, they're good for low headroom.
Yeah, but typically you're not going to see an outlet over in that corner of the garage.
Very true. There's not an outlet in that corner. They usually put one in the center of your ceiling so you can plug your garage door in, and there's not one over there. So then they got to call you guys to come put a new electrical outlet.
Maybe we should start.
These are the best garage door openers ever.
We'll get you some business, get us some business.
There we go.
Yeah. be moving right along.
And we could get a 1,000-pound door, so you could have like sound insulation and windows. And...
Yeah, so I thought Jordan was going to ask the question right away. So over the weekend, we were up at a house looking at a garage and insulation that's being built, and he had some questions about insulation on garage doors.
I just didn't know if they all came that way now. These are new builds, so I know historically they didn't, and they would get so hot in that garage because we've done insulation on the garages, insulation on the roof of the garage, and we throw a mini split or something in the garage to cool it off. But I don't know if there's an energy standard for new build doors, or if you like when you're replacing your door, if it's always going to be like a new insulated door, if that's better. But just don't know anything about the doors.
There's a lot of uninsulated doors and there's insulated doors. They go up to like a 18.1 R value, but in this Arizona heat, you're not going to see a big difference. The insulation, the heavy doors, the 3 steel insulation steel will give you some insulation, but it will also make it quieter, especially if you live on a noisy street. That'll help cut down on the noise.
That's important. I see that. I just wondered about the heat because we were at a customer's house once and they had a separated garage and they had it looked like an old fiberglass door and it was 140 degrees on the door temperature.
I don't doubt
in
that.
the sun, so it was just radiating heat all through the garage. It was hot. So I realized that's the lowest insulation you could get because you could practically see light coming. It's fiberglass, right?
Yeah.
So you could see the shadow of light coming through it. But I figured there'd probably be newer doors and seals and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's some better doors, but of course, the fancier door, the more they cost. So a lot of people just put on a basic door. I don't care.
Isn't the garage door the smile of your house?
It is. And it can raise the value of your house because when you pull up, that's the first thing you see is the garage door.
Garage door, front door.
Curb appeal. Well, now we know you're not supposed to use the garage door, only the front door. But yeah.
Garage doors just for looks and vehicles.
Yes.
Don't go in and out that.
But yeah, it makes a difference. There's a huge, I noticed a difference. There's a huge difference when you go to a house with even a step up from the entry-level door, just the way it looks, just the appearance of the house, the colors. So tell us, since we're talking about that, let's talk a little bit, what are our options for garage doors? Like, obviously you said there's a huge price difference and you got to fit it in your budget, but I mean, there's everything from the generic track home painted door to what? Like colors, metals, glass, like what are the grades here?
Yeah, there's everything that you can imagine. We don't sell a lot of those glass doors in Arizona, obvious reason. But in fact, we haven't sold any of them and nobody's asked for them. A lot of people are taking the windows out of their garage doors because of the heat, so they don't even want that. If they're replacing it, they say we just want a solid door. You can get metal that looks like wood, but it's a metal door. And we recommend that you just get the basic white door or tan door and paint it to match your house because they're paint ready and you can make it look just about like anything you want. You want it to look like the rustic door, we got painters that we recommend that know how to do it and paint your door so it looks just about however you want.
I've seen some like that look like, they'll make them look like a gate or something.
Yeah.
Put a couple little metal brackets on it or something.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's just a regular door with some trim?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a special door.
The options are unlimited.
Yeah.
I think it's a matter of how much money do you want to spend, right? Just like with anything else.
Exactly, yep. We had one customer that, boy, they wanted these doors. That's what they wanted. And when our price quote come in, and we give them their price, they go, well, let's see what else we can do. Because they were looking at $10,000 a door.
Yeah.
And they decided that maybe they didn't.
Sticker shock, yeah.
Yeah, maybe they didn't need that.
We get the same thing all the time. People want a lot, and once they see the price, they
have
start looking at other options.
no
right?
concept of what it would cost to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And I assume you guys had the same problems that everybody else has had, where a door is twice as much now as it was 5 years ago.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Their doors after COVID were what we were selling them for is what we're paying for them.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I do have one thing on the painting. We'll have a person say, "Oh, yeah, put it in the white door and I'll paint it myself." We don't recommend that because they're going to go out there, they're going to grab a paintbrush or a roller and start slapping paint on. And it goes between the sections. It goes
Seals the door closed.
Seals the door closed, seals the trim on the outside to the door, and then they hit the garage door opener and
It separates the...
tears the garage apart because it's sealed with paint.
So you shouldn't paint hinges and all that stuff?
No, and it should. The paint should stay on the outside of the door, not when you go inside and you can see it seeping through.
I saw a YouTube video. I know how to do this. I
Yeah.
got this. So you guys paint them. I assume your painters paint them when they're off before they go on. They paint the sections, the rails. Or
No,
something?
usually we we don't do the painting. We have 2 or 3 people that we recommend, and they come in and they paint it afterwards. They spray it.
Just do a good tape job. And
Yep.
all the things professionals do.
Yeah, spraying's a lot thinner coat than, slopping it on with a brush
get it
or
between the
a
sections.
roller, yeah.
But you want the rails to be painted too. Come on.
There's new rails coming out that we can get that are powder coated to match whatever interior you want.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's actually nice because that's one of the ugliest parts of a garage for most people. Is the
Yeah, we've got inquiry in for them, but we haven't heard back, so they must not be real popular yet. We haven't heard
well,
from
I
the
mean, this is the first
supplier.
time I've ever heard of them, so
Yeah,
maybe
but
people don't know about them.
powder coated, but no, we haven't heard from who's doing or selling
like
them.
their new product or something.
Yeah,
Makes sense. Powder coating the wheels might slide better too, I would imagine. I don't know.
I don't know how it'll affect it.
We don't have rust problems out here, so that's not. I mean, in other parts of the country, that might be a big issue too, because
Right.
powder coating prevents corrosion and rust. So
So we gotta ask Dallerie. We ask all of our guests this question. What are some of the oddest things you've seen happen with customers relating to garage doors?
About weekly, we get a call from somebody, usually with a golf cart that didn't stop, run into the door. Or there's a lot of people that they're in the garage getting ready to leave. They hit the button and they throw it in reverse.
Back into it.
Back into it. One of the
you ever
funniest.
notice no light coming into the garage?
Or they see the light, but it's still
Not all the way up.
this far from being clearing their car and take out the bottom panel. One of the funniest things, had a wife call and tell me what happened. I said, well, the door was crooked in the tracks. I said, well, that's a hung door. I said, we can come, release the tension, take it down and get you fixed up. I said, usually there's no broken parts. It just something hit it. Maybe you hit a broom or, you hit something and it jarred the door, so it's crooked. So before we get there, the husband gets home and he says, well, I can fix this. And he cut the cable. And so then the spring
Exploded.
unwound and the door comes crashing down. They ended up with a whole new door instead of just him waiting for us to come fix it. He thought, well, I can do this myself. I'll just cut these cables and get the door down. It wasn't pretty.
That's why I don't work on garage doors. I leave it to Jordan.
Yeah, it's YouTube video away. We got this. We got this. Just like plumbing repairs.
Yeah.
Another one was a handicapped individual that had, I believe, the hand controls, and he was pulling up to his garage and didn't quite operate it right and went right through the garage door. Technician gets there and it's mangled, hanging over both sides of the car and everything. And I think he damaged some of the structure on the side, the wood. And he says, well, you can get this done today, can't you?
Sure.
Sure. No.
We can take the door off.
Yeah, we can take it off. We can clean it up so you can get your car parked in there, but we have to fix the structural damage. We have to get the door here. And
Yeah, sometimes people don't realize what is involved in a job, no matter what the job is, a garage door.
Amazon
plumbing.
delivers same day. You can't fix this right now?
Yeah. Yeah. There's pretty high expectations sometimes of what's involved or a process.
oh, there was one we got a call that was a VBR rental or whatever, and they damaged the door and they were leaving the next morning. And she called and says, we need this door fixed. And I said, well, we can come take a look and see what we can do. And she said, well, it needs a new door. We already know that. She said, just bring a door and get out here and fix it. And I said, we can't do that. She said, well, why not? And I said, well, we kind of need to know the size of the door. We need to know the HOA regulations of what door we can or can't put in there. And went on down the list. And she's like, well, what am I going to do? We're leaving in the morning. I said, I don't know. We can come out and evaluate,
Yeah.
but not going to fix it right now.
Plywood is what, $35 a sheet at Home Depot?
Just board up the
Yeah,
whole,
just board
up the whole garage.
board it up.
We get that.
You
I
have
mean,
a pickup truck?
I didn't even, she just mentioned something I didn't even think about that you have to contemplate. I mean, they're all different sizes, of course, because a lot of tract homes are standard, but there's HOA regulations. Some of them are real lenient. Some of them, it only has to be Casa Adobe's door number 2, and that's all you can use.
Exactly. And then you run into the issue of where some of the doors are older and they aren't making them anymore. And they say, well, we need to match everybody in the neighborhood. Well, it'll be similar, but we can't exactly match because those doors aren't made anymore.
Does the HOA usually work with you by that point, once they know the door's obsolete?
Yeah, when they know it's that, but then get as close as you can, and they got to be in their color palette.
Define close, because Todd's idea of that matching is different than my idea of that matching. Yeah, that looks the same. It's good enough. That one has spikes on it. I'm going to ask you a question, Dallerie, that this is kind of garage door related, but what was more fun, herding sheep or fixing garage doors?
I enjoy both. But
Oh, you still
garage,
you still
no,
you
I
still
don't
shear
have,
sheep?
no, I don't. I don't do that. I do have grandkids that are getting 4-H age, so it would be a possibility, but we don't have any land.
I'm signing up for a sweater if you're making one.
But garage door is a lot more profitable. Ranching was a great way of life, but it's a hard way of life, and garage doors much more profitable than ranching. So I guess I enjoyed the garage doors.
A little easier after time.
Yep.
Yeah, but you don't have fresh wool.
I don't. And I don't have to go outside at
4 in the
midnight
morning?
to check to see if the sheep are lambing and it's 42 below.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah.
Just remember to go out the front door though, not the garage.
Okay, yep,
Not the
I
garage.
will.
So, Dallerie, you spoke a little bit about your farming background and the sheep. What would, if somebody in Tucson was dreaming of starting their own local service company, what's the one piece of advice you'd give them based on your journey?
Buy an existing business, but do your background work to make sure it's what they say it is. And I was very fortunate when I came down and evaluated the business. He was selling his Tucson division, still in Phoenix, and was selling this. And he opened up his books and, showed me everything he was done, and he was willing to train us because we didn't know anything about garage doors. So I would say buy an existing business, but make sure it's the right one, because it's going to be so much easier to start. And because we stepped right in from day one, and we had jobs, and we just did what he was doing, didn't have to change anything. I've tweaked things since then, but find a system and follow it. There's a lot of mom and pops, maybe I should say one-man shows out here that aren't licensed, aren't bonded, insured. So you can work with them and you can start that way, but it's much easier to buy an existing business.
Yeah, we run into a lot of those too. And then they disappear, and somebody's like, I can't get a hold of my guy. I'm like, well, he got sick, and that's it.
Yeah. Yep. We've had a few calls like that. Well, I used to have so-and-so over here, and I can't get a hold of him anymore.
I had a question following up on that. Tell us a little bit about, I know you only do residential because we've had this conversation before. We'd love you to do commercial, but you guys just do residential. You have every 6 months to a year, you maintenance them. Obviously, you replace garage doors. We just discussed that. What else does a garage door company do for a customer?
We replace the opener, which goes bad quite a bit. But we can also just replace a part on the opener. If the gear and sprocket goes out, we can replace just the gear and sprocket, and then you'll get another 4 or 5 years out of the logic board is a little iffier. We can replace the logic board, but if you've already replaced the gear and sprocket and the logic board's gone out, you probably should just get a new door.
Time to call
or
it a day.
get a new opener at that time. Yeah. We do the maintenance, and I think that's the most important thing. People don't think about the maintenance. They don't think about the garage door until it doesn't open. Then they're panicking, or it doesn't close in the middle of the night when they get home. If you would maintain it, it would last a lot longer.
Is LiftMaster and Chamberlain the same company still?
They are. LiftMaster is the only garage door companies can sell them. You can't buy them off the shelf. Chamberlain is made by LiftMaster, and you can buy them at your local hardware store.
Now, we have some of that too, and I'm just curious if it's the same for the garage door openers. We have like water heaters, so companies will sell water heaters at Lowe's or Home Depot, but most of the time the ones that they sell there are politely called a lower grade.
Yep.
And so
Consumer quality versus professional quality. Yep.
They're meant to be sold for a price point, not a quality point. Is that the same kind of thing in the garage door openers?
That's the same thing with the Chamberlain and the LiftMaster. And if people want to go say, well, we're going to go buy a Genie motor, well, good luck.
Some brands aren't serviceable at all. We get that too. That's a Rheem water heater from Home Depot. Like, you can't get parts for it.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
We have customers that they're on a fixed income. They can't afford the LiftMaster. They're the best on the market. So we'll tell them, well, go to your local hardware store, buy a Chamberlain, but only a Chamberlain. Make sure it's a belt drive, and we'll install it for you. I don't think there's very many people that are doing that. Maybe some of the one-man shows are doing that, but...
Yeah, it's same with us. We have, when we want to stand behind our products, we have to know what the quality is. We have to, the distributor they come from. We get that all the time, like on mini splits, we get that a lot. People are like, I can buy this off Amazon. And you're like, you can. And if we put it in and it doesn't work, you can take it back to Amazon and pay us again to put it in.
Exactly.
So if it comes from our supplier and we put it in and it doesn't work, we call them up and they give us a new one and we put that in.
Right.
So there's a certain amount of quality. We get that comes to having a good supply chain, using a good quality product, appreciating cheap versus inexpensive.
Yep.
Because we get people like, it's a little bit cheaper. We're like, yes, but it's not gonna, like, the springs won't last as long, or the hours on the springs are different, or the belts are not as high quality, or whatever.
Right. Yep.
You have to cut a corner somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
What else would you like to share about yourself, Dallerie? Any joke? Are there any garage door jokes?
Not that I'm aware of. I forgot to ask Google on the way here. I guess what I'd like to say is that we like to treat our customers right. We'd rather come out and say, that bucket you set there is blocking your sensors. Why don't you move that? And it'll work. And they're going, really? And we say, yeah, call us back when you really need us.
Yeah.
We'd much rather treat them right so that when they run through the garage door and they need a new garage door, they remember that, hey, they just let us go on that, moving that bucket. We didn't have to pay them.
Part of the reason we have this podcast, Todd and I were talking about when we originally started, is we were addressing what we call nuisance questions. Same thing you do, right? I would rather tell somebody, hey, when your door doesn't work, have you first checked that the sensor's blocked?
Yep.
And then if it's not, call it. Because we got it all the time. People be, my unit doesn't work. Is it plugged in? Do you have batteries in the thermostat?
Yeah, that's when people call in. They'll say, well, my remotes aren't working. And I'll say, did you change the batteries in it? And it's like, it's either, well, yes, of course, or it's got a battery. And so then, I said, well, why don't you change the battery and see if it works? And if it doesn't, then call us back. Or if they said, no, I've changed the battery, then my next question is, have you put an LED light bulb in your garage door opener? And I said, well, yeah, we like the LEDs. And I said, well, that could be your issue because the radial signal between the remote and the opener are interfered with by the LED. And they go, really? And I said, yeah. I said, so why don't you take that out and try? And they said, well, or if they say, no, we have incandescent in there. I said, well, then your next symptom is your logic board's failing. We try to diagnose and help them over the phone.
Check off the easy markers so you don't waste a trip out there.
That's interesting, though. I didn't know about the LED bulb interfering.
That's probably nothing in your house works. You have LED bulbs everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are those garage doors, what are they, line of sight, Bluetooth? How do they work now?
That's above my pay grade. Most of them are Bluetooth, and it's called MyQ technology. And we get people call and say, oh, my MyQ isn't working. I don't know what to do. You need to get out here. We say, we don't do that. That's between you and LiftMaster or you and Chamberlain, the MyQ.
Oh, it's an app?
Yeah.
It's a device that you can control from your phone. So I have a LiftMaster on my house, and I put the MyQ thing on after the fact. And yeah, you just go to the app, and you could open or close it or set schedules or invite users.
Have Amazon call you, open the door.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Amazon can have access to it to deliver packages and
You're still going to put them in the wrong place.
Yeah. Well, you never know where they put them. It depends on what's in the garage.
Right? They just hide them in the corner. It's a
lot
game.
of times they just set it on top of my trash can when they do the in garage.
So it ends up out with the trash?
No. I don't know, maybe.
Where'd that package go? Amazon used to send me the picture of like, we put it in your secret hiding spot. And I'm like, I didn't set a secret hiding spot. So
Are you at my house?
What are you talking about? Well, it would be a picture. It'd be like around the corner somewhere. And I'm like, okay. Well, thank you, Dallerie, for coming in. We appreciate you having here. We had a lot of good questions this time. I didn't know anything about the LED light. I didn't know that you shouldn't use your garage door as a door. You should just use it to let your cars in and out. So I think that's going to surprise most people because literally everybody I know does that. They probably cut that lifespan in half.
Probably.
So, yeah. But if our listeners want to know more about garage door repair, servicing, or Authentic garage door service, how can they get in touch with you?
Best phone number is 520-740-1050. They can also go to our website, authenticgaragedoorservice.com. Take a look there. There's a lot of good information there. Some testimonials, some pictures so you get an idea of who we are and what we do.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming in. And again, thank you to our listeners for listening to us.
Thank you for listening to Ask the Trade Pros. We release new episodes every other Tuesday, so be sure to subscribe and follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. If you have a question you would like us to answer on the show, please leave us a voicemail or an email, and we may feature your question in an upcoming episode. That information is in the show notes. This podcast is sponsored by the good folks at Done Right Services. As always, thank you for your support.